right, so we'll get started. It looks like some people are still trying to connect to the audio, but we'll get going. Some just quick reminders. There'll be a class recording provided on YouTube in a week or so. So just know that that will be happening, and that happens for all the classes, unless we have some kind of technical difficulty. Also, the reason you're on mute is just so that everybody can enjoy class without other interference or other noise. It can be a little tricky when lots of other sounds come through. So that's why you're muted, but you'll have time at the end of class to ask questions or share thoughts or comments. So know that you do have the option and ability to unmute later. Also, I'm going to be out of town, not next week, but the week after that. So there will be no class on June 26th and no class on June 28th. I will remind you again next week. I forgot to tell people on Wednesday, but just have that in mind. No class on the 26th and the 28th. And I'll try and say that again at the end of our session today. All right, so welcome to our chair yoga class. Quick reminder of what else GoGo provides before we get moving. You can access rides, meals, groceries, medication delivery, and home services, all by calling one number. And that number is 855-464-6872. You also have a referral code at the bottom of your receipts, your GoGo receipts, where if you provide that code to a friend, they can use the code, and then you will both get $10 in credit. We also have a Facebook group. So if you ever want to continue any conversations online or see how other people are using GoGo, you can find us on Facebook, and we'll share a link in the chat. If we haven't met, I'm Adra. I teach the yoga and the functional fitness class here at GoGo. We alternate, so every other Wednesday we do yoga, functional fitness, and same thing on Fridays. So we alternate between the two. All you need today is a chair. Generally, I like a chair without armrests, but if all you have is a chair with armrests or that's what you feel safe with, that's fine. If all you have is a couch, that's fine. We'll make it work with what you have. But a sturdy chair is generally preferable. That's, I think, it. That's it. We don't do the move of the week for Fridays, so we'll just get going. If you cannot see me, you go to the top right-hand corner of your screen and check your view. It might say gallery view, and you'll just want to move it to speaker view, unless, of course, you want to see everybody, in which case gallery view is perfect. I also remembered to put my mic on today, so hopefully we can all hear me. Okay. All right, so finding your seat, let's take a moment. So settling those feet down, hips down, we'll take some circles with the torso. We're gonna move for a minute, then we'll do our meditation and then keep moving. And go ahead and circle the other way. Then pausing in the center, take a couple shoulder rolls forward. And shoulder rolls back. And then allow the shoulders to relax and close the eyes or soften your gaze to the ground. So just taking a few minutes to slow down here. Feel where your sits bones are grounded in the chair. Feel where your feet are planted on the ground. Feel where maybe your hands are resting. Are they resting on the chair? Are they resting on your lap? And then sense position of your torso, the stacking of the spine. With this awareness of where your body is in space, begin to notice your breathing. Notice where you feel the breath in the body. And see if you can slow your breath down just a little bit. Now, as you inhale, I want you to imagine that you're breathing in health, wellness, warmth. And as you exhale, you're pushing out, letting go of anything you don't need, anything that's not serving you anymore. So inhaling the good, the healthy. Exhaling what you don't need, what you don't want. So for today's yoga class, we're going to spend a lot of time stretching and moving around the areas of our body that have our lymph nodes. So just helping the flow of our lymph. And these tend to be, the lymph nodes tend to live in these areas where we have this complex movement or lots of movement. So the neck, the chest, armpit, shoulder region, the fronts of the hips and the backs of the knees. So we're just going to be moving in these big joints. We'll be moving in other areas as well. But just thinking that you're creating some healthy flow in the body as we stretch. Let's take a deep inhale through the nose, fill the lungs. And exhale out the mouth, let it go. One more time, deep inhale, fill the lungs. Exhale, let it go. You're welcome to keep the eyes closed or blink them open. And we'll just start by rotating the head right and left. So first, just noticing, how do I do this? How does my head rotate right and left? And then bring your head back to center and just notice where your head is in relationship to the spine. And then you're going to jut your head forward like you're a chicken. So the head's going to come forward. I'm going to just show you a side view. So if I'm regular, and then the head's going to jut forward. And then we're going to pull the head back. So you're going to pull the face straight back, feeling like you're lengthening the back of the neck. It's almost like someone's holding on to a ponytail if you have a ponytail, or just the back of your head, and lifting it up towards the ceiling. So that pull back, the whole face moves back without the chin going up or down. So with that retracted position of the head, so again, if you need to, head can come forward like a chicken and then pull it straight back. Keep that retracted position so the face feels like maybe it's back. You've almost created a double chin. Do the rotation here without letting that chin start to jut out or jut forward. So it might feel different. And just being gentle with yourself. So here and always, if anything doesn't feel right, skip it, change it, make it work for your body. But doing that head rotation with this thought of lengthening the back of the neck as you rotate and not letting your head jut forward as sometimes we do. I almost like to think about this position of the head like you're yawning in the back of your neck, creating a little more space back there. All right, and then letting that go. Let's go ear to shoulder. So you're gonna try and keep, you can let it go for a second. Notice, where does my head like to sit? There's nothing wrong with that. We're just creating a different motion. Do side to side head movement, just in the position that your head likes to sit. So lateral flexion or movement of the neck, ear to shoulder, other ear to shoulder. You're not gonna touch your shoulder, you're just moving in that direction. And then come back to center, retract again. So create that slight double chin or feel that ponytail pulling you up towards the ceiling, or pointy elf ears reaching towards the ceiling. So create that yawn in the back of the neck. It's almost like you can think you're yawning in the back, like really deep into the back of the throat, and that might give you that feeling of pulling back. And then do that lateral flexion or side to side motion of the neck. It's just a little different. There's a lot more thinking involved. So if there's a lot of tension when you do this, notice that. See if you can release some of that tension. Can you find this head position without tensing the jaw, tensing the neck? And then back to center, and then we'll look up and down. So head up towards the ceiling, chin towards the chest, moving at your own pace here. And then bringing the head back to center. Let's do a few shoulder movements. So shoulders are gonna reach up towards the ears and then back down, gliding those shoulder blades down the back. Inhale up, let's add some breathing. Exhale down. Keep going. And then let the shoulders relax, kind of sit halfway in the middle. Then you're going to let your shoulders curl forward. So the motion is pretty hard to see because it's very small. The shoulders are gonna curl forward. So you'll feel those shoulder blades move away from each other on your back, and then squeeze those shoulder blades together. So shoulders sort of hunch forward. You're spreading the space between the shoulder blades. I find it sometimes helpful actually to use your arms. So you could even reach your arms forward. Feel like those shoulder blades, these big flat bones on our back, are moving forward and away from each other, and then squeeze them together. So I find it's easier with the arms forward, but if that bothers you, arms can stay down. So you're spreading the space between the shoulder blades, and then you're squeezing those shoulder blades together. Now, seeing as you do this, can you keep your spine still? Can you find this motion in the shoulders and the shoulder blades without moving your spine? Is that possible? Can you decouple the shoulder blades from your torso, from your spine? Let's add some breathing. So inhale as the arms reach forward or as the shoulder blades spread away from each other. And exhale as you squeeze those shoulder blades together. All right, and let's let that go. Let's bring those arms up so that the fingertips are on the shoulders, elbows are out to the side. Let's do a little twisting. Inhale, rotate the spine one direction, either way. Exhale, twist the other way. Inhale, twist one way. Exhale, twist the other way. Keep going. Follow your breath. And then coming back to center, releasing those arms. Let those arms dangle and just do a few wrist circles, letting those shoulders rest for a moment. And wrist circles go the other way. We're going to stay with the upper body a little bit longer here. We'll bend those elbows about 90 degrees, like you're holding a platter here. So palms face up, elbows are bent 90 degrees. We'll inhale, open up the arms, so external rotation. Elbows are going to stay close to your body as you reach those thumbs back behind you. Go as far as you comfortably and safely can. Watch that you're doing this motion with your arms, with your shoulders, and not with your spine. So the chest isn't jutting forward. The motion is just the arms and the shoulders. Exhale, pinkies touch, come forward, hold something. And inhale, open, externally rotating. See if you can keep that 90-degree bend. So often what I see is a much bigger bend when you do that. So trying to keep that 90-degree bend, opening and closing those hands. As the arms are apart, you're really trying to reach those thumbs back, finding as much external rotation as possible. Inhale, open, exhale, close. Follow your breath. Next time your arms are open, we'll pause, hold for a little bit longer, and then reach those arms out to the side into a T position. We're going to rotate one palm to face forward, then down, then back. So we're internally rotating one arm as the other arm stays where it is. And then we switch. Internally rotate one arm, externally rotate the other, and switch. So we're just wringing out those arms, wringing out those shoulders. Allow the entire arm to be involved. So it's not just the forearms moving, but allow your shoulders to move. Allow those upper arm bones to rotate. So let this be a full wringing out of the arms. And release, shake it off. I'm turning sideways just so you can see. You can stay exactly where you are. We'll reach the arms back behind us. Now, first, as you reach your arms back, you're going to let your palms stay sort of facing out to the side or forward. And see if you can reach those arms back without moving your spine to start. So notice here, I can keep my spine still and move, and my torso still, and my ribs still, and move my arms behind me. So that's what we're looking for first. Bring those arms forward, and then bring them out to the side and bring them back. Can you move them back without moving your torso, your rib cage, your spine? So we're finding this motion that can be quite challenging for us because we rarely use our arms behind us. And when we do, we often try and move this spine instead. And you can play with angles. So you could have your arms a little lower. You can have your arms a little higher. Can you move those arms behind you without moving the spine? So we are moving a lot around those lymph nodes, around the armpits and the chest and the pecs here. And just play with the angles. So try and find lots of different angles. Notice, again, the spine isn't moving, so the chest isn't thrusting forward. It's just the arms, which can feel really, really, really hard. Or at least it feels hard for me. Can I keep the spine still as I move the arms? A couple more times. If you want to add some breathing, you inhale as you open, and you exhale as you bring the arms forward. Might be easier in certain angles. All right. Go ahead and release the arms just for a moment. Take a little break. Notice that heat. Now the palms are going to go inward to internally rotate so that you can grab a hold of your chair. So you're going to reach back and grab a hold of the back of your chair. You can also grab onto the seat if you can't grab the back. Your other option is to just reach back like we were doing before, but this time palms face each other. grab a hold of your chair, squeeze those shoulder blades a little bit together, and then lift the chest. You have lots of options, so if anything doesn't feel good, you listen to your body and you skip it. Yeah, I don't know if this is on purpose or an accident, but someone's putting a little thumbs down so we can chat later if maybe something here didn't feel good on your body. But if something's not feeling good, then you skip it. No problem. Lift the chest, 2 more deep breaths. And release, shake it off. All right, so now we're gonna move more into the pelvis and the hips. So we're gonna sit sideways on our chair. So this is where I was saying it'd be really helpful to not have arm rests on the chair. So we're gonna start, let's sit to the left. So the left cheek is on the chair and that right leg is free. And we're gonna move that right leg back so that we find a lunge position. So it may take a little bit of time to find your position. So it's the left leg that's on the chair and that right leg that's gonna be mostly off the chair so you can move that right leg back behind you. We're creating 90-ish degree bends here in our legs. Now, being kind to your body, some of us don't have as much bend. So if you need to move your legs in a certain way so that there's less bend, that's fine. You can also play with what your toes are doing. So your toes can be tucked under, your toes can be untucked. You can do whatever feels good here. What we're trying to do is find some opening in the front of the pelvis, especially on that leg that's sort of free or that right leg. First, we're gonna play with the pelvis. So we're gonna tuck the pelvis under. Tail's gonna go down between the legs. Pubic bone's moving towards the belly button. And then we're gonna untuck, reach that tail back behind you, tilting that pelvis forward. So the tail goes like it's trying to reach to the ceiling. And then tuck the tail so the tail moves down. So the tail goes between the legs. You probably feel more stretch when you're tucked. And untuck. So do that a few times. Tuck and untuck, finding that motion in the pelvis. And then stop and pause in that tucked position if you can tolerate that stretch. And then just give your leg a little rub around the front of the pelvis and the upper thigh. Just giving it a little rub, little heat here, a little more sensory information for this region. And then releasing, let's come back to center and let's go the other way. So turning sideways. And we'll find the other side. So other leg is now on the chair. So if you're doing the same as me, that's that right leg and the left leg is going back behind you. So you're creating these two 90-degree bends. Great, so two 90-degree bends. Again, your knee can come further forward if it's too much to have the leg back. You can have your foot pointed, you can have it tucked under, whatever works for you. And you're gonna first play with the pelvis. So you're gonna reach that tail back behind you and almost towards the ceiling. And then you're gonna tuck the tail under. When you tuck, you should feel more stretch. When you untuck, it should relieve the stretch. So we're trying to find this motion in the pelvis. We're seeing if maybe the torso, the upper half of the torso, so the rib cage up, can stay still. And can this motion really be pelvis and low back and not the rib cage? And then tucking the tail, holding that tail tucked. And then giving your leg a little rub, front of the pelvis, hip, thigh, creating a little heat, a little bit more movement here in this region. We have lots of lymph nodes here in the groin region, so that's just good. Get this motion area moving. And then let's go ahead and release, relax. Woo! Come back to center. Wow, that was quite the stretch, at least it was for me. Now we're gonna get some motion going in the backs of the knees. So we're going to take one leg, just whichever leg you want. You'll straighten it out in front of you. And then depending on your chair, you're gonna bend your knee and pull the leg as far back as possible. I'll turn sideways just for a moment. So if you're like me and you have space, then you can bend all the way back. If you don't have space, then just bring the foot to the ground. So one option is to straighten and then bend the foot back to the ground, or the other option is to continue to bend, bringing the leg as far back as comfortable. So just one leg, straightening and bending. So finding that motion in the knees. Might feel those quad muscles working. Nice, smooth breath. And release. Let's switch sides. So other leg's gonna kick forward and either the foot comes back down to the ground or you bring it back further if you have nothing underneath you, right? If your chair allows for more motion. If not, then you just stop the foot on the ground. Straighten and bend. And go ahead and release. Foot comes back down. We're going to move into some heel raises. Let's just alternate. Lift one heel and then the other. So feeling those calf muscles. Finding that motion in the ankle, feeling those calf muscles working. Calf muscles are quite amazing. They're a huge part of helping our venous return. So the blood vessels, helping get that blood back to the heart. So we want to make sure that those muscles are working, helping out our circulatory system. You can stay here with the heel raises, or you can move into some marching going through the heel raise. So I'll go into the heel raise and then lift the knee, foot comes back down. Heel raise, lift the knee, foot comes back down. Otherwise, just stick with the heel raises if lifting the knee is not going to work for you. All right, and go ahead and release. Windshield wiper those knees a little side to side, shake it off. Now we're gonna move into the hamstrings. We're gonna stretch out the backs of the legs. So let's go ahead and straighten out the right leg in front of you. So left knee is bent, right leg is straight, left foot's on the ground. Let's first point and flex the foot a few times. And then we'll flex the foot, toes up to the ceiling, and we'll pause. Inhale, lean forward, feel how the stretch intensifies, and then exhale, back off. Now, as you lean forward and back, I'm going to suggest you almost give yourself a little rub along the back of the leg. So I just have my hand running along the back of my leg as I go up and down. So when we create a little more input, a little more sensory input, even if it's just to the skin, it can help our range of motion. You can even feel, oh, is there a tight muscle? What do I feel when I move forward and back? And then you decide we're going to hold the stretch. So you can hold the stretch leaning forward, you can hold the stretch sitting tall, you can bring your forearm down. You can even reach your hand towards your foot, wherever feels good. Now's a great time to think about that pelvis. So when we were in that lunge, we were tucking and untucking the pelvis. So here, if you tuck the tail under, you'll reduce the stretch. And then if you reach that tail back behind you or towards the ceiling, you'll get more stretch. So noticing that the position of the pelvis, and it may be easier to find that motion if you're higher up, will change the stretch in the back of the leg. So the more you think tail reaches towards the ceiling or the wall behind you, the more stretch you'll get in the hamstrings. All right, coming up, let's rebend that right knee and we'll switch sides. So left leg goes out in front of you, point and flex the foot. Finding that motion in the ankle. And then flexing the foot toes up to the ceiling, pausing there. And we're gonna ease in and out of the stretch. So you'll inhale, lean forward, and then exhale, come back up. And if you want, here, same thing. You can use your left hand along the back of the leg and just give your leg a little bit more input. You can feel those tight ropes of muscles, or maybe you feel softer spots. Just noticing what is there. What do you feel? And then whenever you're ready, you're going to hold the stretch. So you can hold the stretch sitting tall, you can lean forward, you can bring your forearm down, you can bring your hand down, it doesn't matter. But same thing here, we're thinking about our pelvis, noticing if you tuck your tail between the legs and round your low back, you reduce the stretch. Whereas if you reach that tail back behind you or towards the ceiling or the wall behind you, you get more stretch. Great, and then coming up. We'll bend that left knee, go ahead and windshield wiper those legs. And we're coming to stand. So for yoga, we only stand for a couple of minutes. If standing's not for you, stay seated, no problem. If you do want to stand, I highly recommend that you stand behind something for support. So a chair, a wall, a table, something you can hold on to if needed. First, going to feel those feet on the ground. So sense those feet on the earth. Relax those arms or hold on to your support. Let all 10 toes face forward. Let your feet be anywhere from 4 to 6 inches apart. And allow your weight to rock a little forward and back. So just sensing my weight can shift forward, my weight can shift back. And then rocking a little side to side, right and left. It's subtle. Doesn't need to be huge. And then finding even weight, front to back, right to left. We'll inhale, bend the knees, finding a chair pose. Let's reach those arms forward in front of us or keep holding onto your chair. And then exhale, straighten the legs and lower the arms. We inhale, bend the knees, finding chair pose. Exhale, straighten. Couple more times, follow your breath. Next time you're in chair, we're gonna hold for 3 breaths. If it's too much, come out of it. And go ahead and stand. One more standing pose, so one on each side. We're gonna hold on to the chair, step the right leg back about 2 feet behind you and bend your front knee. So right leg is straight, left knee is bent, calf stretch. So all 10 toes are facing forward. Our feet are about 2 feet apart. The front knee is bent, the back leg is straight, the right heel is reaching towards the ground or touching the ground. And step forward and we'll switch sides. Other leg steps back, all 10 toes face forward, front knee is bent, back leg is straight. Feeling the stretch in the back of that left leg or back leg. And let's go ahead and step forward. All right, coming back to our chair. Just a few more poses before we go into our final meditation. We're going to take your legs wide. So we'll get a little inner thigh stretch. So depending on your chair, it may be more comfortable to move further back in the chair or further forward. And we'll lean to the right. Either the right hand can stay on your leg or the right forearm can find your armrest if you have an armrest or the leg. Your left arm is going to move here. So moving in a range that works for you, like you're drawing a rainbow. So the arm can be low by the hip and then up towards the ceiling, finding whatever range works for you. And if there's a spot that's really interesting, maybe you stay there, maybe you pause, maybe you hold. So I like the side stretch position, so I'm gonna hold there, but feel free to keep moving or find a different spot. And we'll go ahead and lift on up and switch sides. So left hand on your leg or left forearm to the leg or forearm to the knee. Right arm is free and you're gonna just find that motion. Yeah, if you're drawing that rainbow-like shape. And same exact thing here. You're moving in a range that works for you. I mean, here and always. If there's a spot that feels really good or interesting, maybe you stay there for a few extra breaths. And then coming back to center. Let's bring those legs back to center. We'll inhale, circle the arms out to the side and up towards the ceiling, as always, moving in whatever range works for you. Exhale, palms touch, hands move towards the heart. Inhale, arms circle out and up. Exhale, hands towards the heart. One more time. Inhale, arms circle out and up. Exhale, hands to the heart and then to our lap. Go ahead and close the eyes or soften your gaze to the ground. Let the jaw relax and smooth out the breath. Inhale the good. Exhale what you don't need. Let's take a breath together. Deep inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Bring your palms to touch in front of the heart. Take a moment to thank yourself for taking time to take care of your mind and your body. Namaste. Thank you, everybody. So wonderful to have you as always. Now's a nice time that you can, if you want to see everybody else, you can switch to gallery view. Quick reminders. I've said this at the beginning, but not next week, but the week after, 26th and the 28th. I am not here. We will not have class. You can always access YouTube and look at the recordings there. Now we have time for questions, comments, anything that worked or didn't work. I did notice that someone, I think this happened last time we did the stretch back to grab onto the chair, someone was like, no. So tell me, did that hurt your shoulders? Did it not feel good? I always like to know if something, or maybe my mic cut out, right? I don't know. So tell me, was it painful? Did it not feel good? Let me know. We're here to learn together. So, and if anyone has anything else, you can put it in the chat or you can unmute yourself. So now you can unmute yourself, bottom left-hand corner. And of course, if you have no questions, you can always just pop off, but I'm going to hang out in case anyone does.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's always wonderful seeing you regularly every week. I think you might be our best student. I don't actually know that, but I think you're here very, very consistently.
I'm isolated relatively still because of health concerns.
Mm.
So this is my socialization.
That's important. Very important to get to see other people. And you're always here with a smile, so it's always a joy to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Wonderful to have you. Also, I guess most people are gone, but if someone had a concern and they don't want to say it to me, you can email GoGo and say something. That way I can answer your question more anonymously if that makes you feel better. All right. Well, have a wonderful weekend, everyone, and I'll see you next week.